Providing support for learners struggling with learning barriers is very crucial for their development and educational success. Identifying their needs and implementing the individualized support plans, it's a methodical process that involves several key steps. My name is Mr. G. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to look at supporting learners with learning barriers. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and click on the subscribe button so that you get notification every time I release a new video. First of all, I think we need to have an understanding of what is meant by learners at risk. These are the learners that come from the previous grade and they haven't passed by themselves. Some of them, they may have been progressed because of a special kind of provision which is contained in the National Assessment Circular, and some of them may have also been progressed because of the fact that they have already repeated in the previous grade, so therefore according to policy they are not expected to repeat the grade twice. Then the other kind of learners that can be defined as learners at risk, those are the ones that may have been progressed because of age cohort. Their age is no longer allowing them to repeat the grade. So these are the learners at risk. So these are the ones that the support plan will have to be developed for in terms of the next grade. So in the beginning of the year, the receiving grade teacher or teachers, we expect them to develop some kind of lists that they will compile of those learners at risk so that they can know exactly who are those learners so that they can develop individual support plans which are best suited for them. After the receiving teachers or teacher has developed the list of learners at risk, the expectation is that those lists will be shared amongst the teachers in the receiving grades or grade in order to make sure that all those learners at risk are spread out amongst those receiving teachers. And the next thing is that a baseline assessment of some kind is going to be administered in order for the teachers to have an indication of the strength and the weaknesses of those learners that have been received from the previous grade. And after having administered the baseline assessment, I think that assessment will give them an indication of where the learners are in terms of the level of understanding when it comes to different subjects. And the expectation is that the analysis of the baseline assessment is further going to give more clarity in terms of the abilities of those learners that are referred to be learners at risk. It is expected that a screening tool of some kind will be used to screen those learners at risk so that after the screening, teachers can be able to develop individualized support plans that are going to be intended to at least assist those struggling learners that were identified to be having learning barriers in order for them to end up being called learners at risk. So the expectation is that that will be followed by the creation of a portfolio of some kind which will also have dividers, and inside the portfolio will have different subjects that are represented in terms of those subjects that are being offered at the school, and those subjects will be meant to have information about the struggling learners, which their information will be in those portfolios. So that is the expectation that after they will have been screened and then using a screening tool of some kind, that will assist in terms of developing these individualized kind of support plans that are going to be contained in the portfolios that I've made reference to, in terms of them having been developed following the different subjects that are being offered at the school. A structured kind of intervention will be expected to be developed whereby the teachers will be following that particular support plan or the intervention plan, ensuring that it is targeted towards making sure that areas that have been identified to be problematic in those areas are being addressed. And there should be regular monitoring of the learners to ensure that there's consistency in terms of that particular process of monitoring, whereby we'll end up having an indication of whether there is progress or not in terms of the individualized kind of support plans that have been developed for those learners. The next process will be that of tracking the outcomes and the progress in terms of those identified learners at risk. This is the process of the evaluation of the interventions in order to make sure that we track the effectiveness of the intervention strategy that has been put in place, so that if ever there are gaps that may have developed in the strategy on itself, then we can be able to intervene and try to review and come up with something that maybe can assist the learners exactly the manner on how we want them to be assisted. So the progress analysis of the situation will have to be conducted to ensure that if the struggling learners don't show any improvement, there will be a need for us maybe to revise areas that require further attention in terms of how the learners shall have fared in terms of the individualized support plans that we have put in place to assist them. It will be very important that should it be discovered that the strategy doesn't seem to be bearing some fruits in terms of that we intended to have, there will be a need to adapt the support strategy, whereby we revise and try to come up with something based on the outcome of those struggling learners in terms of if there is any progress or no progress at all. So the refinement of the strategies is very key to making sure that the targeted kind of progress that teachers may have thought of in terms of addressing the learning barriers in those learners at risk are being addressed. So it is not something that should just be left like that. The adaptation of the support and the refinement of the strategy is very key to make sure that success is achieved in terms of improvement of the performance from those learners at risk. It will be very important again to ensure that there is collaboration and reflection that takes place through the process of the implementation of the individualized support plan, which is intended to assist the learners. So teachers must collaborate with one another and share successes and challenges, so that if ever there are those that don't seem to be making any progress towards the improvement of the situation, they are standing a chance of learning from the others, because there is collaboration. So therefore it is important that the reflection of the practices that may have been applied with the intention of improving the learner performance, it's taking place whereby teachers reflect, and if there is a need, like I've indicated earlier on, to adapt the strategy, then they can be able to do that. It must be indicated that through the process of assisting learners at risk through the individualized support plan, teachers must ensure that there is effective communication throughout the process. This is whereby we also expect that they should be in consultation with the parents in terms of them sharing all the processes that are taking place at school, so that if there's a need for some of the activities to be carried home, then parents will be able to assist, because they have been communicated to in terms of what is happening, so that it is a joint responsibility of assisting the learners at risk to ensure that they improve on their performance. So if it means that there must be sharing of resources, let it be. If there are some resources in the form of some work that are contained in some textbooks or any other sources, and they have to be carried home or taken home, that is something that should be communicated and be shared with parents. So it is something that is supposed to encourage partnership between parents and the teachers, or between the school and the teachers, because taking care of kids in terms of performance, it shouldn't only be limited to the school, but it's something that parents should also take part in that, so that they all ensure that they stand a better chance of bringing in the kind of improvement which is having to do with the improvement of learner performance takes place, because that will be guaranteed by the fact that there is a good working relationship between the two stakeholders. Allow me to indicate that I'm not going to make this video to be so long, because the intention is that in the next coming video, or the next part of this particular discussion, we're going to look at an example of a template that teachers can use as part of the individualized support plan of some kind. So we have a proposed kind of a template which can be used as the one that they can develop and save that in the portfolio file of the struggling learner or the learner at risk. So please don't forget to comment, like, share, and click on the subscribe button so that you get notifications in terms of when we released a new video. Thank you very much for your time.